Here are the top stories for today, June 27, 2019. President Duterte calls on several Western countries to help the Philippines assert its claim on territories in the West Philippine Sea. The Philippine government reiterates its zero tolerance towards human rights abuses. The Army's Anti-NPA community support program reaches out to about 100 villages in eastern Visayas. And a labor agency plans to formulate safety standards for workers in the broadcast industry.
Good day, I'm William Theo. Welcome to the PNA Newsroom. President Rodrigo Duterte maintained his moderate stance on the issues regarding the country's territorial dispute with China. The president, however, challenged three Western powers to help the Philippines amid calls for a more aggressive stand in the contested territory. More on this from Benj Bondo.
President Rodrigo Duterte on Wednesday night challenged three Western countries to help the Philippines make a stand against China and claim its territories in the disputed South China Sea. Duterte posed this challenge to the United States, Great Britain, and France during the 122nd founding anniversary of the Presidential Security Group.
Ito ang hamon ko. Ang hamon ko sa Amerika, Britain, France, mag-assemble tayo dito sa Palawan. Tapos diretso na tayo. Doon sa Spratly. Agawin na natin kung maagaw natin.
This amid criticism that he has failed to confront China over its aggression in the contested waters and to empathize with the 22 fishermen whose boat was allegedly rammed and abandoned by a Chinese vessel at the Recto Bank in the West Philippine Sea. Duterte said he did not want to endanger the lives of millions of Filipinos by going to war against China. He shrugged off critics who claimed going to war against China was too far-fetched, warning that conflict was bound to arise if the Philippines continued to push.
Anything that would forces anybody to act contrary to his will is always offensive. As a matter of fact, sa law, that is called compelling anyone is a crime. Kaya gusto nila i-prohibit ko. Why will I go there and prohibit them? Na the only way to stop them is talagang gamitan mo ng ipin yan.
Amid calls for him to ban China from fishing within the Philippines' exclusive economic zone, Duterte reiterated that China has insisted its claims on the area despite the arbitral ruling in favor of the Philippines. He said that no country in the world, even the Philippines, was given sovereignty over their EEZ. Another reason is their previous agreement to allow both Chinese and Filipinos to fish in the area. Moreover, several infrastructure agreements between the Philippines and China have also been signed after deciding to delay talks on the arbitral ruling. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Benj Bondo.
Malacanang called as speculative assumptions that Chinese nationals were fishing within the Philippines' exclusive economic zone when it allegedly rammed and abandoned a Filipino fishing boat at the Recto Bank. Presidential spokesperson Salvador Panella on Thursday said facts remain unclear if the Chinese vessel was fishing or only exercising their right of innocent passage. He stressed that it was prudent to wait for the results of the formal investigation conducted by both Philippine and Chinese authorities. Panella clarified an earlier statement saying that the Philippines is not granting access to Chinese nationals to fish within EEZ, but was tolerating it in the spirit of friendship. He said Duterte meant that China would not permit their nationals from fishing within our EEZ since they treat the Philippines as friends and also to prevent unwanted hostility. Panella described as unfortunate the confusion made by some media outlets that Duterte was allowing Chinese fishermen in Philippine-owned territories. He meanwhile reiterated that the Philippine government will continue to assert sovereign rights over its EEZ. Foreign Affairs Secretary Teodoro Locsin Jr. said the Philippine government continues to pursue an independent foreign policy. In a speech during the Department of Foreign Affairs' 121st anniversary celebration on Wednesday, Locsin said the Philippines has stood its principled ground on various issues involving sovereignty. Among these were the return of the Balanghiga bells, the West Philippine Sea, and the protection of overseas workers. He also cited the recent return of Canadian garbage to its port of origin, which the government insisted on, among other issues. The Foreign Affairs chief said Manila continues to reassess its relationships with other countries. The Philippine Army's Community Support Program, or CSP, has reached out to at least 100 remote villages in eastern Visayas in the first semester of 2019. Lieutenant Colonel Danilo Ambe of the Army's 8th Infantry Division reported on Wednesday that they are intensifying CSP as part of efforts to eradicate the New People's Army. The program has covered Samar Province, Eastern Samar, Northern Samar, Leyte, and Southern Leyte. Ambe said the CSP aims to bring awareness to the people on the evils of the CPP-NPA. The program insulates communities vulnerable to indoctrination of the NPA ideology and recover areas influenced by them. It also facilitates the government's development programs by bringing issues and concerns of villagers to the attention of concerned agencies. The Regional Task Force End Communist Armed Conflict was created under Executive Order 70 issued by President Rodrigo Duterte, which institutionalizes a whole-of-nation approach in attaining an inclusive and sustainable peace. The Social Security system reports that over 120 members have availed of the benefits of the expanded maternity leave law. More on this and other news around the Metro from Janice Cabe.
Over 120,000 female members of the Social Security system have benefited from the expanded maternity leave law in the first 4 months of its implementation. SSS President and CEO Aurora Ignacio said these female members have enjoyed a 105-day leave which took effect on March 11 this year. With a new maximum monthly salary credit of 20,000 pesos implemented last April, Ignacio said the maximum maternity financial assistance of SSS will increase to 70,000 pesos by January 2020. Meanwhile, Film and Television Director Joyce Bernal has been tapped anew to direct President Rodrigo Duterte's State of the Nation address on July 22. Bernal, who is known for directing comedy, romance, and drama films, also directed the President's third SONA last year. PCOO Secretary Martin Andanar said it was the President himself who approved Bernal as the director for his SONA. He also revealed that Bernal offered her service for the third SONA free of charge. In other news, the Lawyers for Commuter Safety and Protection criticized business establishments that use sidewalks as exclusive parking space. LCSP President Attorney Ariel Inton said some businesses prohibit motorists except their customers from parking in front of their establishments. He noted that sidewalks are supposedly for pedestrians and not parked vehicles. Inton clarified that business establishments should not occupy sidewalks for their exclusive use. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Janice Cabe.
Still to come, the Philippine government reiterates its zero tolerance towards human rights abuses. The DOH maintains high alert status over Bicol region due to the spread of dengue and measles. More on these when the PNA Newsroom continues.
Ito ang Duterte on Duty. Ulat sa ginagawa ng Presidente.
June 17, Lunes, Cavite. Iprinisenta kay Pangulong Rodrigo Roa Duterte ang makabago at modernong kagamitang pandagat sa selebrasyon ng 121st anniversary ng Philippine Navy.
Made the acquisition of 2 anti-submarine helicopters and 4 ambitious assault vehicles, emboldened to further strengthen your capabilities to serve our countrymen. It is also my hope that we send off our newly refurbished and upgraded commissioned naval vessels as you remain steadfast in protecting the Republic against all threats in the seas.
June 18, Martes, Malacanang. Nag-farewell call kay Pangulong Rodrigo Roa Duterte, ang outgoing ambassador ng Sri Lanka na si Aruni Ranaraha, na ginawaran ng Order of Sikatuna rank of Grand Cross. June 19, Miyerkules, Katbalogan, Samar. Binisita ng Commander-in-Chief ang 8th Infantry Division sa Camp General Vicente Lucban at pinarangalan ang mga nasugatang sundalo sa bakbakan kontra New People's Army. Nakiramay din siya sa pamilya ng mga nasawi sa madugong engkwentro. June 22, Sabado, Bangkok, Thailand. Sa courtesy call kay Pangulong Rodrigo Roa Duterte ng mga CEO ng top business groups ng Thailand, ay inimbitahan ng mga ito na mag-invest sa Build program ng kanyang administrasyon. Dumalo ang Pangulo sa 34th ASEAN Summit Plenary na sinundan ng gala dinner kasama ang ibang ASEAN leaders. Bago matapos ang araw, ay nagkaroon pa ng bilateral meeting si Pangulong Duterte at Indonesian President Joko Widodo kasama ang kanilang delegasyon. June 23, Linggo, Bangkok, Thailand. Nakilahok ang Pangulo sa opening ceremony ng 34th ASEAN Summit kasama ang iba pang ASEAN leaders. Sinundan ito ng 13th Brunei, Indonesia, Malaysia, Philippines East Asian Growth Area o BIMP-IAGA Summit. Nagkaroon din ng bilateral meeting sa pagitan ng Pilipinas at Thailand sa paunguna ni Pangulong Duterte at Prime Minister Prayut Chan-o-cha. Ako po si Secretary Martin Andanar at ito ang Duterte on Duty. Abangan sa susunod na linggo ang mga gagawin ng Pangulo.
The Philippine government has reiterated its zero-tolerance policy for abuses and human rights violations. This following the statements delivered by Australia, Iceland, the United Kingdom, and Belgium during the 41st session of the Human Rights Council. In the country's right of reply, Presidential Human Rights Committee Secretariat Undersecretary Severo Catura said Iceland has referred to a recent news release by 11 independent experts, including UN Rapporteur Agnes Calamard. They have accused the Philippine government of sustained attacks on people and human rights defenders and called for the HRC to establish an independent inquiry. Catura said the arguments do not justify the call for a so-called international probe on the human rights violations in the Philippines. Citing official figures as of April 30, 2019, Catura listed down data on erring police personnel and government officials involved in violations. Catura assured the international body that Manila actively cooperates with bilateral partners and international organizations to promote accountability and fight impunity for major human rights violations. The Anti-Red Tape Authority is aiming to place the Philippines at the top 20 sport in the World Bank survey of ease of doing business in the next 3 years. ARTA OIC Director General Ernesto Perez said on Wednesday that the Philippines is in the 124th spot this year. On the other hand, neighboring countries in Asia like Malaysia are in the top 15, Singapore is in top 2, while Thailand, Vietnam, and Indonesia rank higher. Perez said despite taking action on numerous complaints in the issuance of business permit and regulation policy, they have much to do so the country can compete with its neighbors. He said the Philippines will become more productive once ease of doing business is fully implemented. This will also improve economic activity and generate more jobs. Residents of Maigo Town in Lanao del Norte surrendered a total of 28 loose firearms with hundreds of ammunition to the military. Captain Clint Antipala, Army's 1st Infantry Division Acting Information Officer, said the firearms were surrendered to the 5th Mechanized Battalion in a ceremony held on Tuesday at Mindanao State University. Outgoing Mayor Rafael Rizalda of Maigo, who led the surrender of firearms, thanked the Army for their efforts in sustaining peace and development in the municipality. Brigadier General Ezra James Enriquez, Army's 2nd Mechanized Infantry Brigade commander, said the campaign against loose firearms aims to ensure the safety of people in their daily activities. Enriquez urged the people to cooperate and report to proper authorities the proliferation of firearms in their communities. The Department of Health has sustained the red flag health alert status over Bicol following continued rise in measles and dengue cases in the region. Measles cases in Bicol rose to an unprecedented rate of 1,401% as compared to the same period last year. Acting DOH Regional Director Ernie Vera said on Tuesday that all the 1,261 cases reported from January to June 2019 were all children, with 15 resulting in death. Camarines Sur has the highest number of cases, followed by Albay, Sorsogon, Masbate, Camarines Norte, and Catanduanes, with one case being a transient coming from an undisclosed area. The DOH has also declared dengue hotspots in 2 villages in Naga City, in Camarines Sur, and 1 in Gigmoto Town in Catanduanes. Dengue cases in the region continue to rise, with a total of 1,828 during the first half of this year as compared to last year's 1,177 cases. Health officials in Dagupan City warn against the spread of leptospirosis and gastroenteritis this rainy season. Meanwhile, NBI agents arrest the founder of an illegal investment company. More on these and other news from the provinces from Janice Cabe.
The City Health Office of Dagupan City warns the public on the risk of leptospirosis and gastroenteritis as cases are expected to rise with the onset of the rainy season. One fatality due to leptospirosis was already recorded this year, while 3 died of acute gastroenteritis. Meanwhile, the public is advised to wear protective gear while under the rain, stay clean, and cook their food properly. In Surigao del Sur, NBI personnel arrested Ryan Maunes, the founder of the illegal investment company Titan 29 Marketing in Barobo Town, on Wednesday morning. About 200 members of Titan 29 filed complaints against the company for running off with their investment money worth 500 million pesos. Maunes will face charges of syndicated estafa and large-scale estafa. In Zamboanga City, personnel of the Naval Forces Western Mindanao intercepted a shipment of smuggled cigarettes worth about 18 million pesos. The smuggled cigarette shipment on board a Jungkong-type motorboat was intercepted around 3 a.m. Wednesday in the sea waters of Bagong Calarian. The boat was towed to the Ensign Magini Pier at the Naval Station Romulo Espaldon, while the seized shipment was turned over to Bureau of Customs. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Janice Cabe.
Up next, a labor agency plans to formulate a work safety standard for workers in the broadcast industry. Female seafarers take the spotlight at Seafarers Day in Cagayan de Oro. The PNA Newsroom returns after these reminders.
The Philippines values its economic partnership with Thailand. I am pleased with the current Thai investments in my country and hope that they will continue to increase in the years ahead. I invite you to ride on the momentum of Philippine growth story and invest especially in the new industrial destinations of Metro Manila, Pampanga, Clark, Cebu, Bohol, and Davao. The Philippines build is in full swing, and you are all welcome to participate. We are making significant headway in transforming the Philippines into a more stable and secure place for investments. With our sound macroeconomic policies and ongoing reforms, we guarantee a competitive and corruption-free business climate and a highly skilled and fast-learning workforce. Our economic indicators are on the uptrend.
The Occupational Safety and Health Center is planning to come up with a work safety standard for the broadcast industry. OSHC Executive Director Noel Binag said on Tuesday that they will be meeting with the Broadcast Industry Tripartite Council to discuss issues and concerns specific to the entertainment, television, and radio industry. The official added that such guidelines are needed, noting the hazard level of the jobs in this industry. The concern came into light following the untimely death of veteran actor Eddie Garcia after sustaining an injury while filming a television series. Binag, however, noted that the initiative is already in the works even prior to Garcia's death. On the other hand, the TUCP party list expressed concern over the working conditions of talents and crews in the media and entertainment industry. In response to this, the group pushed for the passage into law of the proposed Eddie Garcia Bill, or the Actors' Occupational Safety and Health Standard Bill, sponsored by Representative Mikey Romero of One Pacman party list. And in our foreign news, San Francisco in California on Tuesday voted unanimously to outlaw the sale of electronic cigarettes or vapes across the city. The legislation made San Francisco the first United States city to approve an ordinance that bans the distribution and sale of e-cigarettes. San Francisco Mayor London Breed is expected to sign off the bill in 10 days, after which the ordinance will be fully implemented in 6 months. City Attorney and bill co-author Dennis Herrera said this is a decisive step to help prevent another generation of children from becoming addicted to nicotine. Juul Labs, the biggest producer of e-cigarettes in the United States, meanwhile argued that vaping is a healthier alternative to smoking tobacco. The company said it supports stricter regulation and enforcement instead of total prohibition of e-cigarettes consumption. A survey by the University of Michigan in 2018 showed that 1 in 5 high school student seniors reported vaping, and even 8th graders were consuming e-cigarettes. And in sports, Magnolia Pambansang Manok went on a shooting streak to take down San Miguel Beer Wednesday night at the PBA Commissioner's Cup. The Hotshots blew past the shadow of the team that beat them for the All-Filipino Conference title. James Farr led the team in making double figures with 19 points and 18 rebounds. With 4 wins and 2 losses, Magnolia is now at the top 2 in the conference. Meanwhile, Phoenix cut short the winning streak of Northport Batang Pier despite a shortage of players. Matthew Wright led the 11-man Fuel Masters with 28 points to stop Northport, who ironically won 2 games back with only 8 players. Richard Howell added 18 points and 15 rebounds to secure their lead and pad their stats. The country recently celebrated the Day of Filipino Seafarer in honor of the country's seaborne workers. In Cagayan de Oro, the spotlight is on women who lead an example to their fellow seafarers. Rechi Paculba reports.
With the theme Empowering Women in the Maritime Community, the Maritime Industry Authority in Region 10 led the celebration of the 2019 Day of the Filipino Seafarer at Capital University Gymnasium, Cagayan de Oro. Emphasizing the use of women's names on ships, on honoring their contributions in the sector, Engineer Isidro Butaslak Jr., Cagayan de Oro Port Manager said, "We are simply referring to the courageous or heroic women on board. At the very least, we should empower them, support them, care for them, and even admire them." To highlight a woman's experience while on board, second mate Cristelene Talion, who worked as the only woman and youngest captain on board of a Roro passenger vessel, shared how she helped a pregnant woman on board give birth and revive the baby who was not breathing for a few minutes. Moreover, sharing difficulties while on board, Talion urged maritime students to never be discouraged if they fail. They should learn from it instead. For her part, second mate Angeli Joy Dakayanan Galyur said, "By knowing your limits, you can do beyond." Being able to earn the second mate position, Galyur said capability, knowledge, and good recommendation from masters are the basis for her promotion and not her age or gender. Gathering around 140 maritime students of Capital University, Southern Philippines College, Professional World Academy, and Golden Heritage Polytechnic College, the celebration was highlighted with the dressing up of ships, blowing of horns, motorcade, holy mass, and bloodletting. For the PNA Newsroom, Rechi Paculba, Philippine Information Agency, Cagayan de Oro.
The government eyes are on the Salugpungan schools amid allegations of training and indoctrinating Lumad students to join the New People's Army. With indigenous communities stressing the need for education, what should be done with the Salugpungan? Here is our report.
The Salugpungan schools were open to cater to the educational needs of far-flung indigenous people communities. But last year, the Salugpungan became known for something else. Lumad groups decried how these institutions taught their children to rebel against the government, embrace a communist ideology, and join the New People's Army.
Alam mo, dun sa sinasabi na halimbawa, ang pagbibigay alam sa amin ay halimbawa yung tinuturuan ang mag-aaral na gumamit ng armas.
Yes.
In fact, mag-dismantle ng baril. At saka yung gumamit ng armas against the government at ay talagang taliwas yun sa standards ng ating curriculum.
The military in turn is hurled with accusations of militarization and violence targeting the Lumad and the Salugpungan. This as the government cracks down on communist terrorist activity by taking apart its support mechanisms, which happen to include these schools which have been infiltrated by the CPP-NPA.
Kasi yung mga anak nila, every family, may mga anak sila, nakasali na sa mga armado.
Right.
So naging parang recruitment ground nila itong Salugpungan. Iraradicalize nila ang utak ng mga bata at magiging extremist yung ugali at bibigyan nila ng armas at magiging kalaban na ng gobyerno.
Okay.
Shutting down the Salugpungan schools could stop the spread of the communist group's influence. But would this mean the Lumad will lose their means to get an education? Catch pros and cons with Undersecretary Joel C. Egco as it tackles the Salugpungan issue this Friday, 10:30 p.m. on PTV4 and the PNA website. For the PNA Newsroom, I am Miguel Hill.
The country may experience monsoon rains even after Tropical Depression Dodong left the Philippine Area of Responsibility or PAR last night. Dodong is pulling the southwest monsoon to exiting to southern Japan. Pag-asa is monitoring a cloud cluster east of Mindanao, which is a potential low-pressure area or tropical depression. Another low-pressure area was earlier detected west-northwest of Coron, Palawan, which may, however, dissolve in 24 hours. Meanwhile, let's check out the weather forecast for Metro Manila and the rest of the country. Let's take another look at today's biggest stories.
President Duterte calls on several Western countries to help the Philippines assert its claim on territories in the West Philippine Sea. The Philippine government reiterates its zero tolerance towards human rights abuses. The Army's Anti-NPA community support program reaches out to about 100 villages in eastern Visayas. And a labor agency plans to formulate safety standards for workers in the broadcast industry.
Thank you for watching another edition of the PNA Newsroom. To check out these and other stories, visit the PNA website or follow the Philippine News Agency on Facebook and Twitter. For more stories about the government and how it serves the Filipinos, look for these hashtags in all of our social media platforms and websites. And that's your daily dose of the latest news and information that you need to know. From the PNA Newsroom, I am William Theo. Good day.